Hello, Serge here from the back porch. I have probably one of the, I think, the best questions that's ever been brought up, and it also could possibly lead into us having to address issues that one might have to be very sensitive in the way we talk about it, and to make sure that we, I guess, in today's world, stay politically correct. But so I'm gonna address this just like I give a golf lesson. To me, a golf lesson is a golf lesson is a golf lesson. What I mean by that is any student who comes to me for a golf lesson and wants, in my opinion, and the way I approach it is, they want one thing and one thing only. They want me to address anything that comes about their setup, their swing, and any other issues between physical issues that could be causing a problem with them making a swing and or their equipment, and address it in one term and one term only. What will help them become a better golfer? And I address this with every point, whether I'm teaching men or women, young boys, young girls, and at any level of player, from tour professionals to beginners. And so, with that in mind, let me read this question, and then you'll see where we're going here. This question comes from Bob Smith, and Bob said, "I liked the video and found this to be most helpful, and have been." And I guess he's relating to a daily video, and I think the one he's relating to is one I did a while back about the tendency to want to overstretch, and which affects the setup and the balance of making a golf swing. So getting back to that, I'll start over. Bob Smith says, "I liked the video and found this to be most helpful, and have been trying to do this when I set up to swing. My wife tells me that all this information that I watch is fine for men, but does not work for women. Please give me your perspective." Wow. And again, I think we've heard all of that stuff. We've heard that men and women are different. There was that book that came out a while back. I can't think of it, the title of it. Oh, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus or something. And so, yeah, we have certain differences. But when it comes to swinging a golf club, I think we got a lot of similarities. And if we just want to think about the differences and not apply the similarities, we got big problems. And so right immediately following Bob's question came this answer from Boog M. That's B-O-O-G-M. And Boog says, "Bob, there is a Sergism for that. Does the ball know who's holding the club? The principles apply to both genders." Thank you, Boog. How many times have you heard me say that? The ball does not know who's holding the club. The principles of the physiology to swinging a golf club, many of them are very consistent and the same between men and women. And the laws of physics, again, don't discriminate between a man and a woman. All right? So the first thing I'd like to start off by saying is if you show up on my tee and you are a human being and you are put together with most of the normal parts that we have as human beings that are directly involved in swinging a club, that is, you have both hands and they're functioning, and your fingers bend properly, and the fingers are connected to the hand, the wrist, the elbow, to the shoulder, and the connected joint is the same, and you can do this with your arms and do this with your arms, then man or woman doesn't matter. And if your ankles, your feet are connected through your ankles, your knees, and up into your hips, and you can move your feet around the same as most human beings. All of those apply. So with that said, when I look at women and the lessons with women, I think one of the biggest things that has Bob's wife saying to him, this information is fine for men but doesn't approach women. It's because I think we spent years and years and years telling women that they're different and treating them different, and especially in a golf lesson. I think without a doubt women are basically undertaught, and they're I think coddled too much in lessons because we want to have this thing about they're different. Well, yeah, they're different in certain parts of the body, in certain functions, but overall in swinging a golf club they're not. So to treat them any different in a golf lesson and trying to swing a golf club is, as far as I'm concerned, a sin. I mean, it's just ludicrous. And so I treat men and women the same way. And again, the many important issues here is as we come back again, the ball doesn't know who's holding the club. I teach men and women to grip the club the same way because they swing their arms in front of them just like we do. I teach the same setup with the wide knees and the outward pressure, because why? We want to maintain the limited turn 3/4 swing, and that position is even more critical for women and young boys, teenagers and under, or anybody who's extreme, and young ladies, and anybody who's extremely flexible, because why? The whole key is to control our suppleness and flexibility. Now, we know historically, or biomechanically that a woman, if would take a woman with the same size as a man in terms of height or whatever and weight, that the man will have about 30% more upper body strength than a woman, and the woman on the other side of the coin will have a lot more suppleness and flexibility, as do even men, as when they're young boys growing up. What we lose is our suppleness and flexibility. And so when you are more supple and more flexible, you can probably turn farther, not probably, you can turn farther than someone who isn't, and get there with less stress and strain and therefore less chance of injury. But when you take the female and she now has 30% less upper body and she gets way behind, or the club gets way over behind her in the sacred burial ground and overswung, she now has 30% less muscle to be able to pull that club back up and recover and hit a decent shot. And that's why I think when we see women play golf, even more so than high handicap men, they can range from hitting a pure shot and then hit the next one with a top it or chop it or almost whiff it, because of that issue of they don't have the strength to get back, and the club is so out of control that they can't really grab it enough to go find the ball. And so that's why I think we have to really start addressing that the ladies, if you want to get better, all these things, all these rules apply to you also. I think another issue that we got to take is differences in our bodies. I mean, it's obvious women have breasts, and in some cases those breasts come into play, and come into play in a way that they're in the way. And the surge swing helps it more than anything. I can't tell you how many times I've had women with above average size breasts that when I teach them this swing, where we stand here and we lift our arms straight up, that they say, wow, my breasts don't get in the way anymore. Well, how about men with big bear bellies? We have to address that too. I mean, and so many chubby men have been taught to swing more flat and around. Well, your belly's more in the way. You bend over, get in good posture, you come up and down. Your arms should never touch your chest or your belly. So the surge swing is more than anything better designed for women than anything. And then a lot of ladies who have bigger chests, they tend to grab, when they address the ball, they sometimes tend to grab it with their arms around their chest. And so then how can you swing if you're, and now that really makes the chest in the way. So they tend to flip the club as they swing back, they flip over, and then when they ride back down, they're totally much farther outside, and they have trouble with hitting the ball because they're way above the ball, and somehow they got to try to make an adjustment. So whether you know, the number one key to all address is that your arms should be on top. Your arms are never close to your body. I use the example that a men put a pack of cigarettes in each breast pocket and imagine that they're there, and you swing up and you never crush them. So women, just use your breast. Just swing up and clear your breast. So the key is a golf lesson is a golf lesson is a golf lesson. And if you're a human being, the ball doesn't know who's holding that club, whether you're male or female, and what your age is, what your gender is, what your race, what your nationality, you know, what language you speak or whatever. It's all the same. And so the laws of physics of how you have to swing to hit that ball, and how the club has to approach the ball to hit it solid and straight, are the same for everybody. So let's see if we can't add another misconception to the misconceptions and lies about golf, the game of golf, and especially golf instruction and how to hit a golf ball. We'll add this one. It doesn't matter what your sex, what your age, you know, what your nationality or whatever. If you play golf, the laws apply to you. The ball doesn't know who's holding the club, so let's all swing the same way. And ladies, this all applies to you. And the surge swing is even more important to ladies because of that over flexibility and suppleness and less strength. It's more important to maintain your angles with that wide knee outward pressure, so you can stay still and swing in the mitt and up the tree, and then back down in the mitt and up the forward tree, and maintain your spine angle. So it goes for everybody, men and women. This lesson's for you. One final point I'd like to make about this is that, you know, I've given a fair amount of lessons to a lot of women, and with all abilities of playing, including I've taught 3 LPGA players, and we've talked about their breasts in a golf lesson, and when it's handled properly and it's handled professionally, I've never had a problem yet. No lady has ever got offended or upset, and in many cases they acknowledge it, and they know it, they acknowledge it, and they're thankful that somebody had the guts to address it and help them swing better, to hit the ball better. Well, that's it for the Surge for today, and I'll be talking to you again soon.